I love the little laughs in the beginning.
I know. I think that's really
The last
funny.
one I didn't do it. I don't know if you listened to it.
Yeah, I listened to it.
Just
Michelle said something.
What?
You know, Michelle.
What?
There's no laughing in the beginning. Hey guys, my name is Ashley.
And I'm Charlie.
And this is The Gift of Gab.
Thank you for tuning in. We have an episode today all about Pride Month. It's Pride Month this month.
Happy Pride Month.
Yes. So if you don't know what that is, Pride Month is just a celebration of LGBT experiences and life and liberation and all things gay.
Yeah, all things gay. I'm here for it.
So yeah, if you don't know what Pride is, like I said, it's definitely a celebration, and I think it's different depending on like where you're at too. So I mean, I know neither of us have been to Pride, but I've definitely seen photos and videos, and it looks like a good time.
It looks like a dope experience.
Yeah, I just I get weird around crowds, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I'll get them next year, I think, because Detroit Pride is this month, or this weekend. I'm sorry.
Yeah, June 8th and 9th.
June 8th and 9th. So if you're in the area and that's your thing, then go on down and celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate, have a blast. I'll be at work, so celebrate for me.
Me too. I'll be at work all day, so no celebrating for me. Maybe afterwards. But. All right, if you don't know how Pride started, it was back in the late 1960s, 1969, when the Stonewall riots kind of came about. It was when police raided a very notable gay bar in the area of New York City, and they decided to fight back. They didn't want to kind of stand for it anymore, and just kind of made this big movement and this big liberation for LGBT members. And two very notable people within that movement were Sylvia Rivera and Marsha Johnson. I know I talked about Sylvia Rivera in one of the previous episodes.
Yeah,
but I love her. I mean, if you want to like even watch anything, if you want to like watch, there's a documentary about Marsha P. Johnson. It's called The Death and Life of Marsha P. Johnson on Netflix. If you have that,
ooh, I'll have to look into that.
Yes, it was very. I don't know. I felt re-inspired when I watched it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's very like, I mean, it's hard to watch parts of it because it's very honest and it's very real.
Okay.
Which is good because I think we need to see those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it's hard, obviously, because of the topic that it deals with. And if you didn't know, Marsha P. Johnson she died. They found her body in a river. And it's still an unsolved crime at this point. Just like a lot of trans people's experiences.
Yeah.
They just aren't investigated how they should be, and it's kind of like I feel like they're blown off. I mean, they're not. There's not a priority, and
not valid.
That's a huge issue.
Absolutely.
And then there's the life of Sylvia Rivera, who I think I even mentioned this in the previous episode. I read an article that she wrote. It's called "Queens in Exile," and it just kind of details her experience as a trans woman back in in New York City in the 60s and 70s. I think even through the 80s. And really goes deep into, you know, how she was treated by the police, and how like even like being 10 years old, being on the street by herself, you know, the drag balls of the 60s, 70s, 80s and that thing. So a really interesting read. Maybe I'll even link it in like a YouTube section and that kind of thing, because it's very honest, and it's like an easy read in terms of like content and like vocabulary, but
keeps you interested.
Yes, it's very awakening. It's very eye-opening. So yeah, and then so I mean, why is Pride important today? So obviously we've come a long way, and if you're one of the LGBT folks who wants to get married, I mean, you're able to do that in this country now, and that's awesome.
Absolutely.
And even if we don't have an administration who I think really works for us, it's still a capability of us right now within our country. So that's good, but I think we still have some ways to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even especially in terms of like trans people.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think that they are. I don't know that they're as included within LGBT as like lesbians or gays or even bisexuals and that kind of thing. So,
I don't know if you could describe it this way, like the minority within the minority.
Exactly. Like, yeah. It's kind of. I mean, not only that, but then there's like the intersectionality of it all, and it's just like marginalization and like. I don't know. Sylvia Rivera, who again was a trans woman of color, in her article talks about, or in her essay talks about the ways in which she, as a trans woman, fought for gay rights and lesbian rights and liberation for those people. And she thought she was fighting for the rights of herself too, but she never got it.
Yeah.
It's like the gays and the lesbians of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, once they got their liberation, they never came back for the trans folks. And I know that there has been, especially recently, a lot of work put in and a lot of people being kind of opened up to the experiences of trans people and maybe taking more into account their experiences and their lives. And I think that we're starting to move in a direction of progress, but I don't think we're nearly there.
We still got a long ways to go.
Right. So, I mean, kind of with all this said, I know it's kind of long-winded, but pride is very important. Pride is a very important thing, and I think it's great that we celebrate, but I think we need to remember why we celebrate and why it's not just a celebration, but it's also like a movement.
Exactly. That's what it started from. It started from a riot. It's not just all rainbows and,
exactly. Yeah. It's not all about fun.
Yeah.
Because there's still so much work left to do. And I just don't, even though I'm not participating in it, because, like I said, I have anxiety about those kind of things, and I don't know that that's necessarily an excuse, but I think that we need to not lose sight of like what needs to be done still.
The main goal, the main focus, yeah. Right,
because I don't know, there's so many people out there who still have things to gain.
Yeah.
There's still a large gap between like, okay, like gays and lesbians have rights, and like there's still like trans folks who don't have rights, and then there's just like a basic identity thing of like, okay, who belongs in LGBT and like a sense of belonging and that kind of thing too. So I don't know, there's still some issues in that community I think we'll get to a little bit later. So I don't know if you want to talk about, maybe if you're comfortable talking about like your coming out experience at all.
Yeah, sure, we can go ahead and talk about it. I feel like I don't have much of a coming out experience. I never like publicly said like, okay, so I think I'm bisexual or, anything like that. I haven't talked to my parents about it. Haven't talked to anybody about it really.
Do you think that's hard that you haven't talked to them?
I think it's hard because like, I know like for my parents, I don't want to put them on blast, but like from my parents, like point of view, that's really not the way to go. Like if I can say it in a gentler sense, like I've literally had my mom say she disowned me if I dated a woman. So, to hear that from family, I think that, who's very important in your life. Like my mom, of course, and my family, they're very important in my life. So that type of judgment off of a choice, or not even a choice, how I'm feeling, like, what I'm feeling and like what I feel like is okay for you to just, completely dismiss what I'm saying and saying, no, this is wrong and this isn't right and everything like that. And she kind of they kind of come off of it, I guess, because of a religious view, where I come from a very like a Christian-based background. So that's frowned upon, dating women, dating the same sex, So, I feel like that's kind of been, like, I haven't talked about any of my feelings really,
right,
because, I'm scared that what if my mom really does disown me, or what if she doesn't talk to me, or things like that. I don't know if I could handle it, so I guess I just don't talk about it. Like I kind of don't talk about it at all, really.
I'm sorry. Okay. No, that's hard.
Yeah, I talk about it with Michelle and hi Michelle. I recently God, I bring her up all the time. And I recently spoke with it to my sister, who's very, supportive, and she, listens to me and everything like that.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, I have them. So, but I don't know. Of course, I would like to feel validated or feel accepted from my actual parents. Even if, like, I'm just like, hey, I'm thinking about this, like, and I have questions, or not even questions, but this is how I'm feeling, and I want you to be okay with it. The fact that they wouldn't be okay with anything, they're just like, no. That kind of is disappointing and it's disheartening. So I think that's really held me back as far as, like, figuring my own self out, because I'm just like, my parents will never allow it, so.
Right. And that's not fair.
Yeah, no.
That's not fair at all.
It's not fair at all. Because, like, what if I did date a woman?
Right.
And what if I loved her deeply and I wanted to marry her? And
right. Is your happiness not more than their beliefs?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I have let that take a step back and like me figuring out exactly all of my feelings and my thoughts and everything like that. So I've actually kind of suppressed it for a while. So that really sucks, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't think about it really till now, but yeah. But yeah, that really sucks. So that's my non-coming out story, I guess. Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, what do you feel like you, at this moment, like, what would you identify yourself as?
I mean, like, as we were talking about earlier, I was like, I think I'm more like, and I don't mean to sound complicated or anything like that, like, but like heterosexual biromantic. So I like, of course, I like guys and everything like that, and I like girls too. I think they're beautiful. I think, women are everything. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not 100% sure if I could have a lifetime partner as a woman. So I'm just kind of figuring that out. I'm like, maybe I just think girls are really pretty and that's okay. So I think it's kind of something that I still like want to figure out for sure. Like,
right. And you have so much, there's no time limit.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I can just take my time and figure things out.
Sometimes I think people want, like, they rush it, and like, you don't have, you can change every day if you want to, because it's your life.
Because I mean, that's kind of how I jumped into it. Like, oh, I'm bisexual. And then like, I had an experience and I was like, wait, hold up. Maybe I'm not. Right. Maybe I'm not. So let me just figure this out and take my time. So,
right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what about you?
So I know, I think I touched on it a little bit, but
yeah.
So I identify as bisexual. I mean, pansexual. I feel like they're very similar.
Okay.
It's just whether you reject like the binary system, and I do. Because I think identify as non-binary most of the time, which I don't think I've really come out as.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't know for sure. I don't know in terms of gender. I don't know, but sexuality is definitely bisexual. I've been with women in the past. I've been with men, and I am currently dating a man. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I can get more into it later, but I feel like bisexuality is very real, and people try to like not acknowledge it. And kind of invalidate it. And I can truly say like I think my attraction to men is definitely stronger than it is to women. But I definitely think that I'm glad we're on the same page. But I don't know. It's very real, and I can truthfully say I think I have attraction to both. It just sometimes it's more, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's just whatever you're feeling.
Just feelings.
Really.
Yeah, they're just feelings, and they're so fluid. And but I first came out to one of my best friends. I called her on the phone, sobbing, and I remember I just told her. We used to kind of have these conversations when we were like drunk or whatever, and we'd just talk about like dark, deep feelings, and we were super deep or whatever. But and I remember I always asked her, like, I just feel like everyone has those things within them that they will never talk about.
Yeah. And that's what.
And that was mine.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was just, I feel like I almost wanted her to ask me.
Yeah.
So she didn't ask me, but then I ended up calling her one night, and I was crying, and I kind of brought it up, and I framed it that way, like, hey, remember how we always talk about like those feelings that people don't talk about? Well, I want to talk to you about mine. And I told her, I came out to her, and I remember telling her, like, please don't hate me. Like, please, I hope you don't hate me. And it was just hard. I don't know. It's scary because like I don't know why I thought anyone would hate me because of it. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who might even hate me to this day, but like I don't know why I thought like people who are my friends would
feel some type of way different about you. Yeah.
So and then after that, it was kind of slowly. So I told my partner at the time shortly after that. And then I waited a whole year to tell anyone else.
Oh, okay.
So I started. I remember I told just friend after friend after friend, and I finally went on a date with a boy. I think around that time, and that was probably one of the most scary things I've ever done. I was on Tinder, and this boy just asked me. He was like, "You want to like meet up tonight?" And I don't know what to think at this point, because I mean I've only like. Up to this point, it was only the grinder. Like, and if you don't know what grinder is, that's a whole different thing we can talk about. Yep. So, like, this was like a date. Like, we're gonna go out and we're gonna like,
go somewhere and talk.
Yeah, get some drinks or whatever. Yeah. And, I mean, I don't know how deep you want me to go into this, but like, I showed up a little tipsy already, and I remember I asked him if like, hey, you want to get a shot? And he was like, we have to drive, and I was like, oh, I'm very sorry. Jeez, but yeah, and so I went on that date, and then whatever, it didn't work out. And
okay, that was going to be my question. Like, is that this current guy or no?
No, that was just a one-time thing.
Okay.
But thank you for being my first date.
Yeah.
Because it really pushed me to like, I don't know, put the pedal to the metal and just start coming out.
How did you feel? Like, Did you feel different on the date, or were you like self-conscious of like people around you?
Well,
Or
the thing is, yes, I was, because I was like, this wait. Okay, so I was like, the waitress can probably tell we're on a date.
Mhm.
And it was a bar in a nearby city, and I'd never been to the bar.
Mhm.
And apparently, they have you sit next to other people. Like, it's like, hey, like, we're sitting here. It's like a picnic table, and there's a couple
Oh,
next to
yeah,
us.
I
So
sat.
this is already fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, and so to make it even weirder, he has someone he knows at the bar. Like, not he knows at the bar, but like a friend is at the same bar, and she comes up and talks to him and just having a conversation. And I'm like,
Okay.
hey, I'm already a little drunk, and like
Yeah.
I'm talking, and she was super nice. I mean, whatever. And
Yeah.
I remember her saying before she left, I hope I see some more of you. And like, I don't know, it just felt very like pure almost, but I was just kind of like, I don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I remember my card was declining, and I was super embarrassed because I didn't know I got a replacement card. And he was like, do you need me to pay? And I'm like, no, I got another card, believe me.
Right.
And like, so I mean, I paid, and then, I mean, it was good. He told me I smelled good. So I mean, and that was that. We left. I went home.
Yeah.
And I mean, we chatted, it ended, whatever. And then a few months later, I met my current boyfriend, and it was super, I don't know. It's like you kind of meet someone, and I don't know.
I feel like you gushed about him all the time when you talked about him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Charlie likes this guy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I like
It
this
was, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It was just, you kind of meet someone and you feel like you've known them forever, and it
Yeah.
was just kind of that thing. And then,
And that's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
yeah, and then shortly after that, I came out to my parents.
Okay.
So I met him. We weren't dating yet, but like 2 days before we started dating, I told my parents, and they were super supportive and super awesome about it. And
Okay, that was my question. That's
yeah,
good.
Yeah, they took it very well, and I think my whole family has taken it very well. No one has really, I don't know. It's very, very normal for the most part.
Okay.
So
Especially since you already have a brother who's in the community as well.
yeah,
so.
yeah. My brother, who's also gay, I feel like he had to do most of the work for me, so I apologize. Like he came out. We were like in high school, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I remember he came out, and I was like, fuck, like how are you doing this? Like
Yeah.
I felt like I was not really acknowledging my feelings yet, but I knew still, and I was like, I will never have that strength, and like because that's what
Yeah.
it takes strength.
A lot
I
of
think.
courage to do that, especially in high school.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh God, I couldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there it was just kind of, I came out at work. I didn't really love the experience I had with that. But it is what it is. You learn, you grow, and you learn to not care as much about
Good.
like other people's perception.
Yeah.
So that's always a good one. Good thing.
Yeah, I want to kind of jump back to where we were talking about how bisexuals aren't valid,
Yes.
and because that's bullshit. But
Yeah.
that you have to be one thing or the other, and like you're not sure. But it's like I am sure. I like men and I like women.
Right.
I'm
exactly.
sure. Like,
I'm
what
sure
I mean?
that's that.
Yeah. So I feel like that is so. I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like saying you have to do one or the other or something like that. That's so invalidating, of course, and it's just not okay. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I had an ex tell me before, because I let him know that, hey, I think I'm bisexual or whatever. He's like, well, I don't. It just makes it twice as hard because I don't know if you're gonna cheat on me with a guy or a girl. I'm just like, what?
What?
Like, like if you
Cheating's cheating. Like if someone's gonna
Yeah.
cheat, they're gonna cheat. Like it doesn't matter
Exactly.
who it's with.
So it doesn't matter who it's with. So I'm like, what's the point? Is it gonna hit harder if it's a girl? Like the
Right.
fact you shouldn't just want me to cheat. The fact that if it's a guy or girl, like what the fuck does that even mean?
And that's such a misconception. Like actually, and I don't mean to put my mom on blast, but my mom kind of made a comment similar to that, and she was like, well, what if you're dating a boy? Like when I first came out, and she really wanted to talk and get to understand this. She's like, well, what if you're dating a boy, and then a girl comes along, and you want to marry her?
Like
I
if I'm
told
in a
her-
relationship,
I told her if I wanted to marry her, I would marry her then. I mean, it's not
if
like
you love somebody, you love somebody.
right. It's not like obviously if I wanted to marry somebody I was not with, I would not be happy in the relationship I'm in, and I would need to end that relationship so I could be with the person regardless of what they identify as.
Exactly.
I would be with that person. So like there's this misconception that it's like you can only like one thing, and that's
Or
not
like you're
true.
missing out. Like if you're bisexual and like if I was dating a girl, they're like, oh well, what about penis? What about dick? Like no, I don't. I'm not missing something.
Right. The
because
sexual
of it.
experience is not just one I don't get sexual experience just from one gender, and it's not like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to explain it.
Especially like straight males, they try to make it seem like if lesbians or bisexuals, like, oh well, you have to miss penis, you have to miss that. Oh, what do you mean? Like, they make it seem like it's God's gift to women, and it's like,
right, and
really
that's
not.
misogynistic as fuck. Like, fuck you.
Exactly.
That is not no one cares about your penis more than you do.
Exactly.
Like that's just what it is, and like your fixation on this penis is a little weird at this point.
At this point, yeah. Like, I remember I was on a date of all things, and it was very strange.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I was on a date. I guess it was a kind of a date. It was a bad date because he like brought his friends. So was I really on a date at that point? But anyways, yeah, it was bad. We'll talk about dating in another episode. But yeah, so he like brought his friends, and like we were all like at the end of the night, we're getting Coney Island, and there was a lesbian, and like one of the guys was trying to hit her, and she's like, "Oh no, my girlfriend's in the car, like she'll have a fit." And they're like, "Well, what are you missing? You missing? Why have a girl when you can have this?" And so it kind of just pissed me off because I'm like, why are you invalidating this woman when she's telling you politely, no, thank you, and you're questioning her? Well, you have to like this. So why have you ever had it? Maybe you don't know what you're missing. Like, what do you mean? Like,
right, but if a gay man were to do the same shit to a straight dude,
all hell would break loose.
That would be it.
Exactly.
That would be it. And like, I don't know.
Yeah, because go up to a straight man and be like, well, you haven't had penis. You don't
how
know.
do you know?
How do you know?
Right. You're telling me you've told all these women that this penis is where it's at.
Exactly. Like you can go ahead and give it a try yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? They'd be so offended,
it's
angry.
Just weird.
About
it's just weird.
It's like, very weird.
And there's just a lack of like self-awareness, I think, and like worldly awareness. Yeah. And I just don't understand it.
So like I was so pissed off that I was like, I just like was like, one of the best sexual experiences I've had is with a woman. Mm-hmm. And so she kind of looked at me and was like, thanks. Like, looked at me like appreciative because she felt attacked. You could tell. And like, so my date like kind of looked at me like, what the fuck? And I'm like,
no, I honestly, I commend you for standing up in that moment.
Like, yeah, like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just hate that.
No, me too. And actually, I feel like I make a lot of jokes where I say, "Oh, I'm so gay, I'm gay, I'm gay," like whatever. Yeah. And like Nick's always like, "No, you're bisexual." And like it's just funny because like I say gay because it's like easier to say than a mouthful like bisexual. And,
yeah.
Like, but it's just funny that he is very on point about like, "No, you're bisexual."
Yeah, I had brought that up I was saying something and I'm like, "Oh, well, you know, Charlie's gay," and they were like, "Bisexual," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, forgive me." Like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah. I feel like, I mean, so in terms of like self-identifying, I think that like an LGBT person can use whatever words they want or whatever terms they want. And I don't know. I think that sometimes even we can forget that like bi erasure is real. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, kind of moving on. What
are some of your experiences or issues that you find within the community?
I think one of the biggest issues that, I mean, so it's like an issue. I don't know that people like read as deeply into it as like some other people do. But like the top versus bottom debate. So like if you're in the LGBT community, I'm sure you've heard this, especially if you're a gay male. But being a top versus being a bottom is a very big topic.
Okay. And what is that exactly? Like, so top versus bottom.
Top versus bottom is like, so top is essentially the person who is putting their penis in somebody else, and the bottom is the person receiving it. Okay. And I think that there is like a perpetuation of like masculinity being ideal, because like tops are typically like, even like people are like making it like a meme now, and like I'm fine with that. I think it's funny that like, oh, I'm a top, I'm such a top, or I'm a bottom, like, and or whatever. And a top is like typically a more masculine person. Okay. And then a bottom is a more feminine person. And so like this idea that tops are more desired, and like I don't know that maybe straight people like think about this or have seen this, but tops are more desired in the gay community. And I think that's an issue because, like I said, it perpetuates like a society of like, or an idea of masculinity being more desired or being more important or being what we want to be. Yeah. And I think that's toxic because like, especially for me, like I don't know. Do I look masculine? Like, is that a weird thing to ask you? Like, no, like I think, looking at me?
I think looking at you, well, for me, I think you present more masculine to me.
And that's hard for me because I'm a very feminine
person. You are, especially when you talk to, when I talk to you, then especially then I can see that femininity, of course, that comes out of
Right.
you. But I think if people are just looking at you, they might
Hmm.
seem like, and they might even think, oh, he might be gay, but they'll probably say you're top. Oh, he's probably top. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
And I mean, regardless of what I am or what I am or what I am not.
Yeah,
Sorry, I think
you're
I
good.
almost made up a word. Um, um, it's a very hard thing to deal with because
Hmm.
like me being like it makes me feel like I can't show my like femininity and like
Hmm.
my emotional side because like there's this stereotype as a like a gay male of like the flamboyant
Yeah.
gay, and I think again we talked about like this like in the media and that kind of thing, like,
Yeah.
and I never wanted to be that because I never have felt like that.
Right.
I mean I don't look like it, and then I don't really feel like it. I feel feminine in a different way, like
Yeah.
a more just feminine, I guess, womanly way.
Yeah.
um and I think that that's a very hard thing to kind of digest and
Hmm.
kind of dissect and
Because I
have to
feel
deal
like
with.
people don't validate your femininity. Like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not saying that I don't or anything like that. I actually love that about you, but
Thank you.
I think it's just that I don't know why people desire masculinity over femininity. Like it's not like even with a straight male. Like no, I'm not feminine.
Yep.
I'm like, well, why can't you be? I mean, you can be soft and be sensual with somebody, and you don't have to be hardcore. Like I don't know. It seems like such a negative thing. Like you don't have to be that.
Exactly. And I think that that's like another problem like within the like LGBT community is that like
Hmm.
I feel like there's so many different perspectives, and like one of them is like, should we imitate heteronormative culture and take these things and institutions and sanctions and put them in the LGBT community, or should we just get rid of them all and just kind of make our own? So um, I mean, I don't really know where I stand, I guess, on that issue, matter of factly anyway. But
Right.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's an issue of like, now we're taking this kind of toxic idea that masculinity is better, masculinity is the more desired thing, and then we're putting it in the LGBT community, and like it's making a divided community or like a community that's already marginalized even harder to be in. So I don't know, it kind of makes it like a weird dynamic, I guess, and I just
Yeah.
don't, I don't know. Just a big issue that I think is in the community. So another type of issue that I think is in the community is kind of like the fact that maybe it's the people that I'm around, but like no one really talks about like asexuality.
No.
Like it's not like a very open topic
Yeah.
that like people like express, and like maybe it's because they're a smaller percentage of people, but like they
Yeah.
still exist and they're still out there.
They
And like
do.
when we talk about LGBT, are we talking about the people who are asexual and like their
Hmm.
inclusion within the community?
Yeah.
Um, I just had somebody like pretty close to me say that they think they may be asexual, at least that they feel that asexuality is like a term that they could possibly identify with. And
Right.
I think that the fact that
We
I
don't talk about it enough.
right, I
Yeah.
was gonna say I felt like I had nowhere to point them to. I had
Yeah.
like, I mean, I can read about it all day and I can try to be there for them, as a friend and whatever, but like I don't think that people talk about it, and I don't think
Hmm.
that there are enough resources for people who are asexual, or like even dealing with the feeling that they might be asexual. Like I don't think that
Exactly.
there are enough things to
And
help
I
them.
think a lot of people don't understand the term. A lot of people, it's still, I guess, newer than the other terms. Gay, lesbian, bi,
Right.
trans, things like that. So I feel like it's more like it's new to people. Like, because even when you said, I was like, wait, hold on, let me re-look that up again to make sure
Right.
I
And if you
understand everything.
right, if you
Like,
don't know, it's just kind of like the idea that, at least the way I understand it, is that like the act of sex really isn't vital to like their relationship basis, and
hmm.
like it isn't like a sexual relationship, but it's more of like a romantic companionship type of relationship.
Right.
Um,
So like I feel like normally, well, most people they're physically attracted because they're looking at the sexual aspect
mhm.
of the person that they're looking at, and I feel like maybe, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't want to like quote what asexuals feel
And
or
their
are,
experiences.
yeah, their
Yep.
experiences, but they might think, of course, somebody looks good, but they're like first thing isn't sex.
Right.
Yeah,
It's that deeper
deeper
understanding. Yep.
connections and
Exactly.
yeah,
And kind of very similarly, and I think that again in the very recent years, especially, the rejection of gender has come about,
mm,
and maybe I mean I know it's been there definitely, but maybe the resurgence is just felt by me because I know about it now and I'm looking out for it. But I feel like everyone's talking about it.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because I feel like people like non-binary folks, I feel like they are kind of finding their place in the LGBT community, but there are people who like almost reject them because people, I don't know, they want to like not see it as like a valid gender or a valid way to identify, and they don't think that even people in the LGBT community like will say like, well, they have a penis and they're dating someone with a vagina, so like are their experiences the same as mine? And that's not what the community is about, and that's not what this community ever stood for, at least when it was made and created. It was never about we all have the same exact experiences and we all have the same feelings and we've seen the same things. It's about we are all people who've been marginalized by a society and by a government, and we need to work together because no one else is working for us.
Exactly.
And I think people forget that. Like it's kind of infuriating, and I get really like heated up when I talk about it because I feel like some people are who are in the community, like they don't see that they are leaving people out, and they are like, we'll make trans jokes, and like I'm like, why? Like why? That's like how is that okay? Because if someone made a gay joke, like how would you feel? Right. It's just very invalidating, and it's very disheartening for me, like being part of that community, to see like not everyone working for the greater good of the whole, and like it's kind of like, hey, I got my rights, so I can stop now. Like, hey, I got to where I needed to be, so we're good. Like, that's not how it should be.
No, because we're still fighting for so many other people. Yeah.
I don't know, and it's very disheartening. I don't know. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted
to add
to that.
As opposed to like genders, I know like a big topic has been like gender reveals, and like that's been kind of. I don't know if that's like something we should talk about in a different episode or what, but I just feel like with like gender reveals, like I wasn't looking at the deeper meaning of it. I just thought it was so cute. Like, oh, we're going to figure out if we're having a boy or girl. Like, oh, that's cute. Like the balloons popping out of a box and, you know, sparklers going everywhere. Like that's the thing that we were looking at. But like some people have actually brought up the topic like, well, what if that person's non-binary? What if they're not, you're assigning them a gender before they're even born? You know what I'm saying? So I kind of had to like take a deeper look at it and be like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I shouldn't. So, like, I was, like, reading because, like, somebody was, you know, something on social media was referring to the gender reveal parties. And this lady was like, well, I think it's deep, but I don't think it's that deep at birth. Because, like, the babies don't even know who they are. And she was like, we could just have a re-gender reveal. Like, we'll do it again. Like, if they're not a boy and they come out and they tell me, hey, I'm feeling more masculine, we'll do another party. She's like, once they identify if they're different, and I don't know if I agree or disagree with it. I thought that was a different idea. And
that is. I don't think I've ever heard of that, but
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to take that and kind of put it in a different way, just because it's similar to what I'm about to say. I think enough anyway. Is, do you think that we should have to come out as our identity? You know what I'm saying? Like
a coming out thing.
Yeah. How almost damaging is that? Like, why? Yeah. Why did I have to come out as bisexual? Like, because it's a big event. So like, why put something in
coming
place?
Out.
Yeah. Why put something in place where these children are going to have to come out as non-binary or come out as trans? Like, you know what I'm saying?
It should just be.
Exactly. And like, I get why people do gender reveals. Like, I get it. It's exciting. You want to kind of, I guess, know. I don't know. But it just upholds the societal standard of like, this is what a boy is. This is what a girl is. And if you have a penis, you're a boy. If you have a vagina, you're a girl. And like, why? Yeah. Why is pink girl and blue's boy? Like, why? Like, I grew up and I loved pink and I loved Barbies. And like, it made me feel fucking wrong. It made me feel wrong
like
for so long.
To do that,
yeah. And it's so, and I don't know that people think about it unless you experience it. That is so damaging as a child. Like, I felt so scared and so dirty.
Like, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, exactly.
So now we have it set up to where like you have to come out and I mean, I get it. And like, we even talked about our coming out stories because it's powerful and it's strong, but like, it doesn't have to be so traumatizing.
Yeah. It should just be. And I definitely agree with that. Like, I was just thinking, like, when you're saying like, I like Barbies and I like pink, I know this little girl, she likes to play with Marvel characters and action figures. And when her mom's like, no, don't you want this princess thing? She's like, no, I want a Batman birthday party. That's what I want. And her mom's like, okay. She's like, I try, you know, to get her into Barbie. She's not into that. She wants to go play with her Ninja Turtles and do things like that, and that should be fine. If you when you were younger at 5 or whatever, you wanted to play with a Barbie, your parents just should have got you a Barbie for your birthday. It shouldn't have been like, oh, that's frowned upon. No, you need an action figure or a fire truck because that's what you're going to be masculine, you know?
Right. Right. And I think that, I don't know, I feel like this society just makes it hard on people who aren't straight and who aren't this just typical, like, straight cisgendered person.
Yeah.
And it's very, and people uphold that. And when I say society, I really mean the people who do those things. Like,
exactly, yeah.
They perpetuate that kind of mentality, and
because they're out there, you're not gonna act like they're not.
I scroll through Facebook every day. I feel like there's a gender reveal party every day of the week. I'm like, how many babies are being born? Like, God.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like I said, I kind of almost get it, like, for the excitement, for the celebration of this child,
of
but
the baby.
you got to think of what you're imposing on them. Like,
that's
you're making
too.
choices and decisions for them.
Exactly.
And like, that isn't fair. And especially, and I'm not gonna get too, like, especially if this child, if this whole, like, anti-abortion thing, and not to make this about abortion or whatever, is going to be an issue, and the argument is going to be, well, that child is or that fetus is a child and it deserves life. Well, that they deserve to make their own choices then, if that's going to be the argument. And you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's kind of where the conversation is going in terms of that. And I don't know, maybe that was just a little too far of a reach, but like, I feel like we need to respect other people's choices and other people's decisions.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that those kinds of things are doing that. So I don't know.
I agree.
So another issue, I guess, within LGBT, and I think that this is, I mean, it just is what it is. It's just like hate crimes.
Yeah.
Are huge, and I know me and you have talked about it a lot. And I mean, the fact that there's a statistic out there just saying that, 26 trans people were killed last year. I think, what was it, 7 or 9 were killed this year. And how many of them have we heard on the news? I can tell you one.
And there's honestly probably more. We just haven't.
100%. Like Marsha Johnson's case, like, not even solved. So
yeah, exactly.
Like they won't even say that was a murder. They won't even say that was a hate crime because they didn't prove it. Yeah. Because probably laziness on their part. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, exactly. So that's just another statistic that wasn't even counted. Exactly. Like, how many of those are the same way?
Exactly.
And I mean, thinking back, it was just a few years ago, the Orlando shooting at, I think it was called Pulse nightclub. Is that right?
I
think so. Like, I was just in Orlando last month, a couple months ago, actually. And I feel like I was thinking about it a lot because I went to downtown Orlando. I think it was in the general vicinity of it. I didn't go by it.
Right.
But I was thinking a lot about it, and it's just like, these people, these normal people, just living their lives, having fun, going somewhere where they thought they were safe, and it's just, you're killing people. You're ruining people's lives and the people that they knew. And I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why there's hate for
families
things
torn apart from it. You know
right.
what I'm saying?
And I don't get why there's hate for something that people literally do not choose. Like, if you think that people choose to, like, if you think people want to choose to struggle like that, like, because it is a struggle and it's not something that's very easy for a lot of people. Like, if you think people are choosing to struggle like that, you're wrong. Like, you're very, very wrong.
It's a choice. You think I choose to be attracted to men? That's not a choice. Like,
right. Like, you like, people don't choose to be scared that their families are going to hate them. People don't choose to, like, cry with their friend on the phone and, like, say, please don't hate me. Like, people don't choose that shit.
Exactly. That's not what we want.
It's infuriating. And there are people out there who hate people because of it. And
exactly.
Like, even at work, like, I don't know that people, like, hate me, but, like, I do this cute little thing where I roll my pants a little bit at the bottom, typical bisexual energy, but like, I definitely get some looks, and people have commented on it.
Really?
Yeah, and, like, not that's like a gay thing, but, like, I feel like a lot of gay people
have said that at work?
Yes, customers have said it. Like, they made a comment to someone, and they were like, why does he roll his pants? He shouldn't be able to do that. A customer has said that to somebody. Like, made a comment about it. Like, why? It's not like they're up to my kneecaps. Like, they're once or twice, like, depending on the day.
Or something.
Right? Yeah. I have longer black. Like, it's literally showing no skin, because I wear long black socks. It's just a look. Like,
that's strange.
Like, so not necessarily a hate crime, but, like, I definitely get, like, I can tell.
Looks.
Yeah. Like, I can tell when I'm not passing as straight. Like I can always tell by the stranger if they're staring, like if they're like looking at me too long, like I can tell. And it's fucking
and you
weird.
Have to pass.
No, but like, and I'm glad, and I hope that other people like find strength in this. Like I'm learning to like not minimize myself. Like I'm learning to like once I kind of notice it, I'm like, all right, I guess this is who I got to be, and like I gotta like be kind of like sassy with it and confident about it, and like it's just kind of like once someone acknowledges it, or like if I feel like they're acknowledging it or like taking note of it, then I'm gonna just like be it, like
because you should be, you shouldn't
right,
be.
and I should be all the time, but like especially then because like I feel like if they're noticing it like that, and I'm getting weird looks, and people are making comments, and like they obviously have like a weirdness about it, and like I'm not about that, so. I don't know. That was my little tangent on that. I don't know. I get worked up about it.
No.
I don't know. With everything we've kind of talked about, I don't know. I personally feel like we still have a long way to go, though.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many people who have so many feelings who are still afraid to come out, who still won't, like me, won't talk to their family or their mom or dad about it or anything like that. And that needs to stop. You know what I'm saying? It's so many, we've come away, but we still have so many more things to accomplish and so many ways to go. Like the fact that people are still, it's frowned upon still for gay or lesbian couples to adopt. Like, why?
Why?
Things like that.
You know how many children there are in the foster system?
Hundreds of thousands, right?
Right. Yeah. Like,
if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
Give these people like. Obviously, we've talked about this again. Like, give these people children if they're qualified. If they, pass the background check. Like, why is it an issue? Or like LGBT people in the military. Why is that an issue? If they want to protect this country and they love this country and they bleed red, white, and blue, let them. If they're just doing it because they want better tuition and I think they get their tuition paid for, let them. Exactly. Because they're over there and doing things that other people, especially straight people, are not doing. Yeah. There are a lot of straight people who do not serve in the military, and if these people are willing to put their lives on the line, then I think that they should be able to if that's what they want to do.
Exactly.
It's just kind of fucked that we have a administration that doesn't recognize that and wants to repeal trans rights and things like that. Like it's fucking ridiculous. Backwards. I don't get it. I don't know. I know we've talked a lot about it too. If you don't know, I'm sure most of you do know, but LGBT, like what that stands for, it's a very inclusive term, and there's a lot of different, I guess, words that go within it. But all the different included words are lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, transsexual, queer, questioning, intersex, ally, and pansexual. Yeah. So very inclusive, and I think that if we're going to talk about LGBTQ plus rights, that we need to be inclusive of all members of the society, or not the society, but the community. Thank you. That was the word I'm looking for. And not just, like I said, if you're gay, you're going for gay rights. If you're lesbian, you're going for lesbians. If you're trans, you're going for trans. We need to be fighting for rights of all people. And I don't know if you're going to Pride this weekend or next weekend or this month or next month or whenever it is, like please take into account that all of these people have had struggles, and it's not just you and it's not just your experience. So be mindful of the space that you take, especially if you're a straight person going to these things. Please be mindful of the space that you take up at those parades and those celebrations. Yeah. Because sometimes I think people can be, I don't know.
Looking at the core of why it started, just making sure that like we've said it before, but just making sure that it's not just all about the party, but about the actual cause.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the most important thing, I think. Because if we can think about that, then we're kind of thinking about where we come from, and that's always important to keep an eye on. So yeah. Did you have a nice quote for us today?
I do. I actually have a quote from Sylvia Rivera.
I'm going to cry. I love Sylvia Rivera so much.
Okay. So this is what it is. It says, I was a radical, a revolutionist. I am still a revolutionist. I am glad I was in the Stonewall riot. I remember when someone threw a Molotov cocktail. My thought, my God, the revolution is here. The revolution is finally here.
Oh, God. I love it. Just a powerful woman.
God. Powerful woman.
Just would stand up for anyone.
Yeah.
Would stand up for anyone who deserved it and who, not even deserved it, but who needed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like I said, there's so many different stories and resources out there. If I took a class that gave me so many different like readings. if you want any of them, just email us, comment
Right.
on something. I will email the documents I have, and they're very good essays, and they're very informative, and they're very eye-opening. I know they've changed my perspective on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll be interested. I'll
Yeah.
have to email you.
If you do need to email us, it's thegiftofgabmi@gmail.com.
Yep.
Again, if you're listening on any platform, we have them on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Ashley just told me about Anchor today, so we're going to try and get on Anchor.
Absolutely.
And yeah, this is very fun, and I am glad that people are still listening.
Yeah,
And,
thank you so much, guys.
if anyone knows how to get in contact with Chili's and their sponsorship, let us know, because
Absolutely.
we would love to be sponsored by Chili's. We go there a lot, and
We love it. We have
love
that
it.
common ground.
The other queso is bomb as hell. So
Exactly. And they have good $5 margaritas.
that Presidente, is that what it's called?
Yes. And actually, they
Presidential.
do margaritas of the month. I have to tell you guys what it is each month, so I'll start doing that.
But for real, I really want to get a sponsorship. So please, if you guys connect, let me know.
At Chili's in any of our comments, just,
Right.
contact them.
Let's get it going. Alrighty. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.